Hey guys, Ben here from Session Media, and in this video I want to put together all the elements you should consider when putting together your B2B digital marketing strategy. Having worked with B2B companies in over 40 different industries, we've seen time and time again the activities which have had the biggest impact on scaling pipeline. And whether you undertake these activities in-house or outsource them to an agency or use a hybrid, it's important to make sure you have a top-line overview of all the activities which should be put together. It turns your marketing department into your business media machine. We've recently launched our 6 months consultancy offering, which takes B2B brands through the exact model I'm going to walk you through in this video. Okay, so this is an overview of the document. And where we always start when we look at a company is first and foremost the strategic roadmap. And this contains a few things, but from a top level, it's around looking at and reviewing your competitive landscape, your current activity audit, looking at your company growth targets, so where you want to get to over the coming months and years, looking at your current budget allocation, and looking at your resource, what capabilities you have in-house, what capabilities are you outsourcing, and what ones do you potentially need in the future. And let's take a left little turn down here first. And first and foremost, I want to look at your demand capture strategies. By capturing demand, I'm working out how we can get in front of them at the moment in time they're looking for your product or service. And remember, these elements can either be done in-house, they can be outsourced to a freelancer or an agency. It all depends on what the objectives are of the exercise. So first and foremost, it comes with paid search, which is Google ads and Bing ads primarily. And what we can do is go in and look at account structure, the match types, the bidding, the tracking, the keyword research, ad copy, the negatives, and everything else to do with making sure you have a perfectly optimized campaign. So secondly, we can look at your user experience. Getting decent qualified traffic to your site is half the battle. The other half is making sure they get in contact. So we look at everything to do with your landing pages, dynamic variables, call tracking, your feedback loop, and all the split testing that you're doing, and work out whether we can help you guys plug the gap to make it better from external resource, or we can train the guys internally to be able to look at getting a better conversion rate. We then look at SEO, and from an SEO perspective, there's a few different elements that we look at. Obviously, we have the technical and the on-page side of things, which is a high-impact technical review to make sure that the site has a solid foundation to build SEO campaigns on top of. Can it be crawled, rendered, indexed, how the core web vitals, all the internal linking silos, as well as the on-page optimization. Next, we go on to the building authority through link building. So we either provide you guys with consultation of how you can implement processes to do link building, or we can look to leverage resource to link build for you guys, which is all around the proactive link building, which is where you use assets or creative-led stories to reach out to mainstream and media outlets in order to get placements back to your site, or setting yourself up with reactive or passive PR, which is something I'm not going to go too much into today, but also looking at things like anchor text ratios, your link velocity, all the stuff you need and all the stuff that we found from the competitive landscape and what you guys would need to acquire from an authority perspective to be able to start competing in the SERPs for your target and money keywords. Next, we look at a blog content strategy, which is where we can help you guys and provide you guys with templates or consultancy, or actually do the brief writing, so creating content in the direction to dominate the SERPs. So make sure you guys are appearing for all the market-related queries or the more informational mid-funnel terms, as well as showing you guys actually how to create these copy briefs. We then look at other sourcing. We then look at sourcing expert writers, so whether we look at helping you guys train your internal writers to, once they've created the blog copy, how they can go through and optimize it with the help of the briefs, or how we can help hire and vet external expert writers, which is something we've done at scale for very, very technical organizations. As we make our way down here, what we can see is ultimately we have a lot of software internally here, which we can open up to you guys to use for your reporting. And this is not limited to software, which is listed down here. Either that, or we can give you a list of software you guys can use. But ultimately, you probably don't need all of this software to start with, and you can potentially leverage the data that the software pulls out through one of our licenses. If we go on to the demand generation side of things, this is where it really becomes quite interesting and how we can really start helping set you guys up to become a media company, which really starts bringing business inbound. And demand generation is pretty much the process of creating demand for what you offer. People may not be aware of your product or service, or may not be aware there is a solution in the market, which is very common for new technical-based products. And this is, again, split into 3 different areas. The first one is paid media, and we look at the paid media strategy. So where are your audiences hanging out? Is it LinkedIn? Is it Facebook? Is it maybe potentially likes of TikTok? And then we look at the audience reach. How big are these audiences? How can we best reach them? What's the best frequency we should be looking to reach these audiences over the coming months? What are some of your leading success metrics? So not looking at things like ebook downloads and cold leads or MQLs. We're looking at the likes of SQLs and other indicators that are showing us that we're creating the right content and it's really resonating with the audience. Next, we look at some demand gen playbooks, so some Notion boards which we've created which show the different types of content that you should be creating at different levels of the buying journey, which we can educate the team on, as well as looking at messaging frameworks which we found to work really well across all the different industries that we've worked in. We can then look at the likes of media buying, so how you guys can actually go in and amplify this content that we've looked to start creating and these messaging playbooks. So how we do that, what's the UTM implementation so we can make sure we can track everything properly, what's the omni-channel strategy we want to put in place, and the creative consultation, so the best ways of actually making this creative, which I'll get a bit more into this next section. The next bit of the process is the internal content process, so looking at your content strategy. Who internally is going to be in charge of this? And what we can say categorically is the majority of the best performing clients we work with on demand gen strategy are able to leverage their internal expertise in order for us to help them amplify it. Because ultimately you guys hold the key to great industry insights and you know the exact direction that your company and industry is going in. So if we can work out ways to help you guys leverage that and create genuinely insightful pieces of content, we can tie it into some more direct response media later down the line once they've been warmed up. We can work out who's going to be in charge of that internally and who's the best voice or the best voices for your company. We can look at testing paid media creative through an organic strategy, so we know it's something we should be amplifying and what kind of snippets we should be putting out there, or long form bits of content just like this ad here. And looking at process flows and batching and how you can create the most efficient and streamlined process to get the most content out of your team in the shortest space of time with the least friction. We then look at content formats, so is it going to be best suited for videos, podcast, carousel type content? Is it going to be product loop animations, which I'm not going to go too much into, but are really cool product loop videos which show exactly how your software works, for example, testimonials, use cases, LinkedIn email, and blogs and research. So how can we leverage all of this content and make it a part of your strategy? Next, we look at the organic media strategy, where ultimately we work out things like staff incentives to get people across your organization posting and how we ultimately going to incentivize them to do that at scale. So not only is it a few people in the organization that are posting this content, but we're actually enabling people across the organization to share their thought processes and becoming an ambassador for your brand. Then we look at the community management side of things. So you guys are going to implement, emails, newsletters. How would you do that? What are the best social posting tools? And enabling content is very similar and the same level as the software. Rather than you guys having to necessarily create and hire all these people, what we can do is enable you guys with cameras, microphone setups, green screen, creation, wikis. So ultimately, how would you do a step-by-step process of creating a video? How do you post it out? How do you look at the KPI success? All of that stuff we have down in wikis and SOPs so you guys can have access to them to view it and make sure your life is as easy and straightforward as possible. We then have post-production resource, so if you don't want to look and edit and go after trying to find really good video editors or post-production people, we have them here. So you're able to tap into our resource to make sure that it's as easy as possible for you guys and you can focus on the core business activity of creating that insightful content. The final bit, reporting and attribution. This is the key and the pivotal bit for all the activity we're doing, because whether it's demand capture or demand generation, and even though both work in tandem, we want to make sure that we have all the analytics and feedback loops in place in order to know the success of all of the activities which we're doing. So what we do is help you guys set up analytics, which is really helpful, especially going into GA4 setup. Also things like keyword tracking, so what are the most profitable Google Ads keywords, for example, and then how can we use that data to inform an SEO strategy from a high intent demand capture point of view. We then look at helping you create feedback loops from your CRM. So what's the data in your CRM saying, and how can we then create a feedback loop from your sales team and your CRM back into your marketing and channel activities so we can pull those levers even harder for you guys to expedite growth. And finally, what we have here is real-time Google Data Studio report. And this ultimately is a way of tying together everything that we've gone through from all the different channels and working out exactly which ones have been the most effective and which ones haven't. It allows your management team to uncover and see all the information they need in order to make informed decisions at a very, very high level. That was a whistle-stop tour of our strategic roadmap. And if you guys would like to talk about it a little bit more and how it could work for your business, then please feel free to get in contact through the link below.